y'all, it's Nikki. Springtime in Texas means rodeo season, and starting on March 14th, Rodeo Austin will take over the Travis County Expo Center. Rodeo Austin is a not-for-profit that provides real experiences and gritty fun. We're talking a pro rodeo, one-of-a-kind concerts, a carnival, and a livestock show. Y'all, there is so much to do, and the best part? It raises millions of dollars for Texas kids. So come be a part of Real Texas Grit. Get your tickets today at rodeoaustin.com. That's rodeoaustin.com. See y'all there. Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. One visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit to Austin's beach. Today on CityCast Austin, it's the Friday News Roundup. I'm here today with the Hey Austin newsletter editor Kelsey Bradshaw and executive producer Eva Ruth Morvek to round up some of this week's headlines. We're going to talk about the Trumpification of Texas, what our lawmakers are up to, and our weekend plans. Plus, it's International Women's Day on Saturday. Oh, and after our roundup, Kimmy High will be joining us for a conversation sponsored by the Austin Bergstrom International Airport to help you get through AUS like a pro. Stick around to learn more. It's Friday, March 7th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hey, Eva Ruth. Welcome back, Kelsey.
Hello, hello.
We made it.
We did.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So, happy Friday, a.k.a. the eve of my birthday.
Yay.
Hooray.
A.k.a. the official start of South by Southwest, a.k.a. a.k.a. The official start of my birthday month. There's all kind of shenanigans happening in the world right now, y'all. It's a lot. So, okay. Let's get into this craziness. So a couple of stories came out this week about how Governor Greg Abbott is Trumpifying the state of Texas and by default, Austin. President Donald Trump wants federal workers to all return to the office or, quote, be removed from their job. And so now Abbott has apparently also quietly, which means in my head sneakily, directed heads of state agencies to phase out hybrid work schedules and require all employees to return to the office 5 days a week, quote, as soon as practicable. So some stuff to know here is there's no effective date. So he's directed all commissioners to notify employees that everybody's going to have to come to the office full time. But he didn't give a date. There's no real details on how they're going to sort out office space because so many offices have consolidated because everybody was working from home. And there are just a lot of unanswered questions. The state of Texas is one of the largest employers and the largest government employer in town. It'll affect almost about 70,000 people. According to the Legislative Budget Board, 80 agencies said that the policy led to better retention and recruitment. 46 agencies have said the option to work from home led to increased productivity. 29 state agencies said the policy reduced overhead for office space and administrative costs while also reducing turnover.
So that was the policy to allow workers to be hybrid.
Exactly. And I find this ridiculous because we are still in norovirus time, coronavirus time. We got the first confirmed.
I just had the flu.
You just had the flu, and it was the fluiest flu of all creation.
Mm-hmm. It was awful.
And we had the first confirmed person with measles in the city, right? And I just don't understand what the thought process is here.
This is something that I'm like, you guys are lying. Like, this is fake.
It's Trumpification, y'all, because Governor Abbott, he is a big Trump supporter. You know, he was even there on Inauguration Day, and he got this shout out from the president. And I think he wants to be on the good side of things as far as Trump goes, you know?
But this conversation everywhere that's happening everywhere in the United States about people going back into the office feels like so goofy to me. And
it's ridiculous.
Because if productivity didn't slow down or else we all wouldn't be here, right? Like the economy lived through COVID somehow, right? And like the three of us, we don't even have an office space. We all work from home and like we do a lot of work. We get a lot of stuff done.
We're not just like flaking off doing our laundry all day and playing with the dog.
Well, and I feel like there's this like weird thing where they're like, well, like you shouldn't be able to do a load of laundry while like in the background while you're doing your emails and doing your work and stuff. And I just think that's so weird. Like I just don't get it.
Here's the other thing, y'all. If we're keeping it a buck, I used to work for the state. I'm sure many people used to work for some sort of government agency. You only do about 3 hours of work all day, maybe 4.
Yeah, if we're really going to talk about it, yeah.
And if you're one of those people that you are working the entirety of your 8 hours a day, honey, this does not pertain to you.
Good on you.
Where I worked, the amount of work that we needed to do in a day only amounted to about 3 or 4 hours. The rest of that time was bullshit. It's just a way to control. It's a way to watch people because you think if you can see someone, then clearly that means they're working.
Work. Right.
But that is not true.
I remember when the pandemic started and we all got sent home, I remember being like, I'm doing way more work than I was doing before. Like, I am exhausted because I'm not sitting with my friends for lunch, you know, my friends in the newsroom. I'm not going to grab coffee or like walking across the street to get a taco. Like, I'm just sitting in my apartment on my laptop writing.
Doing
like
work.
I'm just working.
When I started working from home, I was like, oh, I need to prove to them I'm working.
I was worried about my online icon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember all of the, like, there was like a device that you could put on under your mouse or something that would like jiggle your mouse every so often?
A jiggler. Yeah. It's like this culture where people can keep an eye on you. And so they know that you're working. I would say I got less work done. I get less work done when I'm in an office because everybody's talking. And there's all this stuff going on. And so it's just about control.
Can you imagine if the three of us worked in an office together?
Nothing
there would be no podcast.
Get done.
There would be no newsletter.
Nothing.
All I want to do is chit chat with y'all all day long.
Yeah.
Already.
And
like
nothing
I
would
can't
get done.
imagine. Yeah.
So here's my proposal, that we don't try to go back. Like, we're just in a different time. Like, the workforce has changed. So why can't we just adapt to that? I mean, there have been changes in how we work in the past. This isn't like the very first thing. So like for me, it's like the commute. It is such a big quality of life thing for people. And now with the state, you're making all these people come back to the core of downtown, go on I-35, deal with this construction, and they're pissed off that whole time. It's not pleasant. So like that quality of life, I think that like makes people more like, you know, willing to work harder. Yeah. You're negotiating, you're giving me something. I'm going to do this. Like, I love this organization because they let us, you know, do this, and I can still, and I will also add, like, I love seeing y'all in person. I think that does add a lot. And we try to whenever we can, right? Because like, that's the way you build connections. But is it necessary for us to get the work done?
No.
The thing is that everybody's already proven we can do it. The toothpaste is out of the tube. So now we know we can be efficient. We can get work done. There's no reason to go back other than you just like flexing your muscles and forcing people to go back into an office. And not for nothing, to your point, Eva Ruth, in Austin, we are about to be in the middle of the biggest construction. I mean, like, we're about to be the construction. I mean, like, the biggest construction nightmare in probably the history of the city, I feel like. And with no public transportation. Like, Austin, you got to get your shit together. You can't expect people to go back to work. You ain't got no way for them to get to work. Half of our freeway, our only freeway in the city, is going to be chopped up into pieces.
Up.
Governor Greg Abbott is giving, like, whatever Daddy Trump says. I want to be just like my dad. And my dad says everybody has to go back to work. Speaking of which, and other Trumpification news, the state fired a man along those lines for refusing to stop using he, him pronouns in his email signature Frank Zamora used to work at the Real Estate Commission. And on February 3rd, the director ordered staff to remove pronouns from their work, saying that the change was, quote, based on a recent directive from Governor Abbott. He had worked there for 3 years, got great reviews, added the pronouns in solidarity with non-binary, intersex, and trans Texans, and he was fired. I always said the F word. He was fired on February 7th. Are our leaders so insecure that they cannot handle the idea of like someone wanting to self-identify? Why is it your business?
Yeah.
Why does it matter? What if my full name is Nikisha, but on my signature, it says Nikki, because that is what I want to be called. And nobody but my mother calls me Nikisha when she's mad at me. Why does it fucking matter? Why does it matter? I should be able to be called whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, this is a story out of the Statesman, and it's really well done. I think it's so interesting that this is a story, too, about a cis man who, like, made a pros and cons list about, you know, should I leave this job? Should I stay here? Should I keep my pronouns in my email, et cetera? And it's just so interesting to me that, like, Republicans are supposed to be, like, the whole idea of the Republican side of things is, like, small government, right? Like, you don't want the government in your business. And,
Right.
like,
Supposedly.
the government is in this man's email signature. And it's just, like, I just don't understand. And I don't know. I think he's pretty cool, like this man, Mr. Zamora. I think it's really cool that he's a cis man who was like, I'm not giving into this. Like, this is, I do this for my non-binary friends, for my trans friends. Like, I do this to make the space more inclusive for them, too. And, like, I think, you know, that's, like, the whole idea behind pronouns is, like, if everyone's putting it in their email signature, if everyone's putting it everywhere, then it's more comfortable for our trans neighbors and non-binary neighbors, et cetera, to speak up about their pronouns. And, like, I think this man's really, really cool for just being like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Like, you're going to have to fire me. And they did.
And they
Yeah,
did.
and
They
they
threatened him.
did.
And it's like, to your point, Kelsey, not only is it's like good practice, but it's a signal that you're safe. Right? Like, I know when I see that, I'm like, okay, ally. This person is a safe person to do business with or to come to. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a big deal.
And to these administrations, that's like a sign of like weakness or, you know, something that they need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, the real question is the man good at his job or not?
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's good at his job.
He was.
So why are you bothering him?
Yeah, it's more like nobody wants to be on the wrong side of President Trump. I really do think like it's just that fear that it's kind of the same fear that honestly Austin has from the Texas legislature. They don't want to make.
Look at that smile. Look at that.
Look at that.
Yes!
I'm just saying, nobody wants that focus, you know.
Yeah.
They don't want to make too big of it. They don't want to be on the
glass.
wrong side. They're like, no, y'all just keep doing your thing. Everything's quiet over here.
So we are now 7 weeks into the Texas legislature, which ends June 2nd, and there is so much going on. The Senate has been kind of sailing along and has already approved 7 actual bills, while the House is just now starting to have hearings on bills. So we have a little update on 3 things. One bill that is stuck, one that's progressing, and one that's coming up.
Yeah, one thing that seems stuck. This is one thing that Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has prioritized. He really wants to crack down on the hemp THC products that are available that have really exploded since 2019. So back then, lawmakers authorized the sale of consumable hemp, and hemp had already been legalized. That sort of led to this unintended explosion of hemp products. There are now 8,300 locations around the state where you can buy hemp products. And I've seen it described as just like, you know, the wild, wild west, because there's sort of a lack of regulation as opposed to places that have legalized it that actually have more regulation than we do, which is wild. So now there's this bill that Senator Charles Perry has filed. He's a Republican from Lubbock who is actually behind the 2019 bill. His bill would make it illegal to possess or manufacture anything with THC aside from the state's medical marijuana program, which is like teensy tiny and the amounts are very low. So there was a hearing this week, and Perry actually said, it's now time to get the genie back in the bottle. But, at the same time, hemp creates a whole bunch of jobs and tax revenue. And so the Senate is seemingly into this bill, but there's nothing identical to it in the House yet. Mm-hmm. And Texas House leadership hasn't really spoken about it. So it could be sort of stuck at this point.
What even is his reasoning other than just like, we don't want it anymore?
Control.
I think the unregulation of it is dangerous. We had an interview with Mary J., an owner of a dispensary or a store here in Austin, who kind of talked about like that it's sold at gas stations. A lot of stuff is like chemical or, manufactured, not like organic material. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like nobody knows what's in stuff,
Yeah, a little questionable.
Right. And there's no age limit right now.
Okay.
And so they want to address that. But there's like smaller things that they could do instead of just like banning all of it, of course.
Yeah.
But
especially if we're making a bunch of money from it, why not? Let's get some age limits on there. Let's get some regulations in there instead of just being like, no, sorry, everyone who's making a living from this, you're done.
Also, just if you're banning stuff that's harmful, ban cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing people at a much larger
and
Bring
alcohol. Back prohibition.
Listen, I mean, we're on the road anyway. We're on the road anyway. Or they could also just like legalize it and make a crap ton of money for the state.
Yeah,
just legalize it, tax it, do it the right way.
Right.
That's even more revenue. I don't understand why we're still stuck in the early 2000s.
Dark ages.
The dark ages.
Texas will be here forever.
Yeah.
When it comes to marijuana, I just don't see this ever.
Moving.
Us ever being Colorado about this.
Yeah. So that's something that seems stuck right now. On the progressed side, y'all will really love this. There's a Texas Senate committee that just voted to advance bills that would require schools to display the 10 Commandments in classrooms and also allow districts to give students time to pray at school.
Man, I thought you were going to say they're passing a bill that they're going to write you a check, Kelsey, for $1 million.
Yeah, not today. Maybe later on in the session. But at this point, we are still fighting some culture wars. It may sound just like a crazy, weird, one of those crazy, weird bills that legislators put out there. But actually, there was some reporting by the Texas Tribune that points to this being part of this like larger national movement to sort of Christianify the Republican Party and chip away at this church-state separation. Yeah, there's also like new curriculum that's been passed in the state and with these like Bible-infused lessons.
And in this Trib story, they're talking about how like doing this would prevent societal ills such as gun violence. And I just like, what are we doing? What do you mean the 10 Commandments is going to prevent mass shootings?
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't so far. Like, the 10 Commandments is readily available. Anyway.
Also, it previously approved a legislation requiring the districts accept and hang up the In God We Trust signs that were donated and allowed districts to replace mental health counselors with religious chaplains.
Mm-hmm. What?
That was last session.
Talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So it's like every time it gets worse. Are you for real? You want me to pray about my mental health? Is that what you want me to do? Are you serious?
Scandalized by that. I don't know what Kelsey was doing 2 years ago, but she missed that.
It's not a requirement, but they allow it. So if there's like certain communities,
Well, you allow people here. The governor says we have to. If you want to, you can, fire your mental health counselors and hire a priest or a pastor if you want to. If you believe in God. If you're a good Christian, this is how it makes me like irrationally angry. But it also
I think it's pretty
really
rational.
And it's really scary because here's the thing. When you start talking about the 10 Commandments, like how you want to enforce those 10 commandments is left up to the interpretation of whoever is in charge. This is one of my biggest gripes about like secular religion, is that you take these words from this old ass book, and then whoever happens to be teaching, quote unquote, the word, they get to dictate what it means. It's very subjective. It's highly subjective. And now you're taking that and teaching our children. Teachers also got to teach your kids about God. We talked about this before. Are Muslim kids going to be able to also pray? Is any other religion other than Christianity going to be allowed?
So speaking of classes in schools, we will be hearing more about that this coming week. So the thing that's coming up that I wanted to alert everyone to is House Bill 3, which is the House's voucher bill or education savings account bill. This is to give public taxpayer dollars to pay for private school tuition. That bill is going to be heard in a public education committee meeting on Tuesday, and that's starting at 8 a.m. It's the only thing on their agenda, so clearly they're expecting a long day, and this bill has already passed through the Senate. There are some differences between the House bill and the Senate bill, so if it does get all the way through the House, even at that point, it would have to be like they'd have to go to a conference and kind of negotiate the details. But this is another priority for Governor Greg Abbott, as well as President Donald Trump. Even though in the past this has been like kind of a contentious issue for Republicans, already this year, the House bill's author, Representative Brad Buckley, he announced that there's 75 other members who have signed on to the bill as co-authors. So that gives them 76, theoretically, people supporting it. And that's enough to pass the bill because they only need a majority of the 150 members. So, yeah, it's sort of signaling that it could move quickly through the House as well. But now's your chance to, get involved if you care one way or the other about how we should be using public money for education.
Cool. I don't know, man. Literally, that's how I feel. So yep. It seems like it's going to happen. And
it sort of seems like it's going to happen.
And that's what I feel like, isn't that something like Republicans have really, really, really wanted for a long time? They've controlled Texas forever. And they're like, public schools are bad, even though they've been in charge of the public schools this whole time, so that they can get this voucher thing in. Right? Is that a liberal talking point that I just repeated?
I think you've been listening to the libs and taking notes. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely one perspective. And I think we're going to hear a lot of opposition, even if it is kind of like looking like it'll pass. Democrats will still be opposing this with every way they can. And if you don't want to go down there, but you still might want to follow along, you can watch online. The Texas Ledge hearings are all live streamed. And
I'll have the update in the newsletter as soon as we get it.
I will not be doing that. But you know what I will be doing? Other stuff. What are y'all doing this weekend?
I'm really excited about my weekend plans.
Okay, let's hear it.
Really freaking pumped. So, as we know, South by Southwest starts today, and I have a lot of things that I put on my schedule, but the day I'm most excited for this weekend is Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So on Sunday, I'm trying to get in to the Severance, Apple TV's Severance TV show panel that's happening at South by Southwest. So this is like an official South by event. You need to have a badge. But Ben Stiller is going to be here talking about Severance, and because he's the director.
Okay.
Yeah. He's in charge of Severance. And
in charge.
I have not shut up about Severance since this new season started. Like, if anyone brings it up to me when I'm like out at a bar or something, that's bad, because then I will not stop talking about it. And so I'm going to try really hard to get into this panel. And then that night, another TV show event, and I think this is one that you don't need a South by badge for. There's going to be a Love is Blind party with like cast members from Love is Blind, Netflix's like worst show ever that I'm addicted to. So
Nice.
I'm going to try to get into that as well. I have my little RSVP and I need to get there early. So I'm very excited about all of my TV events happening this weekend.
Excellent.
What are y'all doing?
Well, I'll get mine out of the way and then we'll leave it up to the birthday queen to take it from there. I might be doing some South by stuff. I might be not. I don't know. We'll just see how things go. But there is the Sips and Sounds Music Festival going on at Auditorium Shores Saturday and Sunday. And that is going to be drawing a lot of people, no doubt. Apparently only resale tickets are available at this point, but still might be worth checking out if you're into it. So Saturday is also International Women's Day, in case you didn't know.
Let's go, women.
Woohoo, women!
Woo!
And it's Women's History Month, so double whammy. Just make sure you treat the women in your life to all the respect and care they deserve.
My Venmo handle is Kelsey B5.
There we go.
So send me money. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's sort of related because there's a woman that I have a lot of respect for, Brene Brown. She is going to be doing a live taping of the Usual Suspects podcast with Kenya Barris and Malcolm Gladwell. Sounds very deep and interesting. So I'm excited about maybe doing that on Sunday if I want to do South by. And then there's also a session with local filmmaker Robert Rodriguez on the future of action filmmaking.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, a little bit of South by, a little bit of not. What about you, Nikki?
I will not be in the city.
Why is that?
Because it's my birthday.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
Listen, y'all, today is the day before my birthday, so I am leaving because I don't want to be here. I love this city. I do. But I would be somewhere else with my friends. But if I were here, there are a few things that I would be doing. For me, and I don't know, maybe other Austinites are like this. Today is kind of the day when it's the first day of South by. I'm not going to say it's a wash, but it's just like it for me, it's like impossible to get anywhere. You can't like I would avoid downtown today like the plague. So like anything that you do today, just don't make it in downtown because it is the start. It is everybody's here. Everybody's driving around like they don't know what they're doing. Everybody's walking in traffic because they don't know what they're doing. It's just, there's a lot. So my suggestion is order in for Friday. Now, Saturday, different story. Saturday, Hotel Vegas in the Volstead has Soundcheck Saturday. It's a day party. Doors are at 12. Golden Dawn Orchestra is going to be on the patio, and Punk Rock Vintage Market will be there all day. Cumbia all day will be over on the Volstead side with DJ Orion, I always say his name wrong, Garcia, and more. It's free. It is not South by. You do not need a badge. You don't need anything. You can just show up, have a good time, shop for some vintage stuff, hear some good music. There are bands all day. It's free until 7:00. We said this in our South by episode that you can get away with doing a lot of stuff for free during the day. This is no exception. So Saturday, you should be at Hotel Vegas of Volstead. My only suggestion for that is to get there early because it's gonna fill up soon. Sunday, Cavalier Queers Drag Brunch is happening at the Cavalier with two of my favorite drag queens in town, Mandy Quinn and Noodles. And it's a cute little drag brunch. They have a curated menu. It's 12 to 2. Cavalier has self-proclaimed themselves the break from South by bar. So if you ever need a break from South by, you need to head over to the Cavalier. It is a great time and the food is good. So that's what I suggest for this first weekend. I'm not going to be here. But also, piggybacking on what Eva Ruth and Kelsey said, it is International Women's Day. And so, listen, if you are not uplifting women this weekend, specifically on Saturday, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Whether you send in me and Kelsey money to our Venmo, mine is at Fat Bottom, helping a woman in your life do something that she needs to be done, whether you're donating to trans women's rights, like whatever it is, you should be uplifting women and thanking women and highlighting women and spotlighting women, high-fiving women consensually at the very freaking least.
Consensually. Call your
Consensual
mom.
high fives. Call your mama. If she's still with you, call your mama. Yeah. If she's not with you, then do something to celebrate your mama. If you guys had, or whoever mothered you, right? Like whoever mothered you. There are many types of mothers. And that is all I got going on, y'all.
Sounds good.
I hope that I'll be in a hot tub.
Nice.
With a beverage in my hand, right? With a beverage in my hand.
It's the perfect weather for that.
It's the perfect weather. That is all I want.
Well, I hope it's a wonderful birthday weekend, Nikki.
Thank you. I am so excited. I'm excited. If you want to give me a gift, I love earrings and I love socks. So if you want to send me some earrings and socks courtesy of CityCast Austin, it's okay. You can do that. You can also subscribe to our newsletter and our podcast for my birthday. If you don't want to spend money, a great birthday gift for me would be to subscribe to our newsletter and podcast. Thank y'all so much for rounding up the news with me this week. Y'all did the heavy lifting because this legislative stuff has me feeling very, very depressed.
Hang
got
in
me
there.
on my feels, my Pisces feelings.
Yeah. It's not over till it's over. So,
hey, and if you're depressed, see a priest.
Kelsey! Yes. That was amazing. Goodbye.
Ta-ta.
Thanks, y'all. And listener, don't go anywhere. In just a second, we've got a segment sponsored by Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Kimmy High and I chat all about getting around AUS. Hello, I am Nikki Devon. I'm here with Kimmy High, the PIO Division Manager for Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Hi, Kimmy.
Hi, Nikki.
So we always hear get to the airport early in quotations, like get to the airport early. But what does that actually mean? When is the airport the busiest?
The airport is usually the busiest Thursday through Monday in any given week. But to be honest with you, we're always at capacity. We're always busy. And so when we say to arrive early, we're talking about 2.5 hours before departure time for domestic flights and then 3 hours before departure time for international flights.
Yeah, I definitely... Even when I get there 2 hours early, it still feels like I feel good that I got there early because I can just see the line getting thicker and thicker behind me. So yeah. Now, there are a lot of options for parking. And if you're someone who gets anxious about parking, I won't say it's me, but sometimes it's me. You get anxious about parking and you want to be sure to get a spot. What are the best ways to prepare?
I'm the same way, Nikki. Whenever I'm going to restaurants, I make sure that I know what the parking situation is.
Yes,
so I relate.
Yes, me too. Yes.
On-site parking at AUS can quickly fill up during, busy travel season. So it's always good to reserve a parking space in advance. And you can also check real-time availability. It's at abiaparking.com, or you can always call us at 512-530-3300.
Okay, you just made it sound so easy. That's awesome.
It's pretty easy.
So we got a solution for the parking. So
yes.
What are my best options as far as just getting to my gate with multiple security checkpoints and different levels for pickup and drop off? Like, what is your best advice for making airport navigation as stress-free as possible?
Absolutely. So if you're someone like me, I usually Uber to the airport. So if you're skipping that parking situation, your Uber and Lyft driver can drop you off at either the upper or lower level. If the lower level is really packed, just go ahead and use the other level.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then as far as security checkpoints, we have 3 security checkpoints and all of them lead to our gates. So never fear if you get funneled into a different checkpoint, you will make it to your gate, I promise. If you have TSA pre-check or clear, we have Checkpoint 2 West that has those options.
So now there are tons of construction projects underway in the city and also to come to AUS. What should travelers know about these projects and how they could affect operations at the airport?
this goes directly with what we were talking about in the beginning with how it's always busy here at AUS. And it's busy because our footprint is so small. And that's why we have the Journey with AUS expansion program. We're expanding our airport. So for listeners that haven't been by the airport in the past year or so, when you pull up this year, you'll see a lot of construction going on. It's all really good things. And the good news is that we don't have many projects that are impacting our passengers much at this point.
That's good to know, because I feel like sometimes when we hear that the airport is expanding, that we get worried that means, oh my God, things are going to be worse. They're going to be longer. It's good to hear. So now I'm going to paint a picture. We've all been there waiting at the airport, especially if you're a traveler like me and like to be there ridiculously early. What is your favorite thing to do to pass the time while waiting for a flight?
I go through our terminal all the time as a passenger, and it's really fun because Austin is unique in the fact that we only use retail and restaurants that are local to Austin. So you really get a beautiful taste of Austin culture when you're coming through our terminal. We have live music going on almost all the time. And so I make a beeline for our big stage, asleep at the wheel, and I hit that bar right there and I listen to some live music. I'm a big Asian fusion lover. And so I'm going to go over to the Peach Tortilla, pick up like a brisket dish. And then if I need some energy, I'm going to go to Joe's Coffee.
Kimmy, thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for talking to me about AUS today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nikki.
Kimmy, thanks for being here. Again, the airport has a great page with travel tips on their website, and we'll have the link for that in our show notes. So you're just a click away. Thanks for listening. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. Our executive producer is Eva Ruth Moravec. Our producers this week are Zoe Culkin and Selena Sierra Reynolds. And I'm your host, Nikki Devon. Our Hey Austin newsletter editors this week are Kelsey Bradshaw and Natalia Aldana. Music is by Nelson Valente Aguilar of Como Las Movies. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.